Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. So the second archetype of Justice Hunters just got revealed and there is a lot to talk about here. Yeah, we're going to talk about Yummy. How many times will I say that in this video? Who knows? So Yummy is a synchro archetype that composes of 3 level 1 monsters, 3 level 2 synchros, a link monster, 2 field spells, and a trap card. So the gimmick behind Yummy is spam the board with as many of these monsters as possible and just control the tempo of the game with both the main deck monsters and the synchro monsters. Each Yummy represents interaction. The Cupsy interacts with your main deck. Lollipop interacts with the graveyard. Cookie involves monsters on the field. Both the synchro version and the monster version do these interactions. Cupsy adds a Yummy card. Lollipop returns a card from your opponent's graveyard to their deck. Cookie reduces the attack of one of your opponent's monsters. However, if they are all summoned by a synchro monster, they gained another effect. Cupsy can draw a card, Lollipop can banish the card instead of putting it back to the deck, and Cookie can destroy the monster. So, very simple concept, very simple gimmick. Also, all the Yummy monsters have the same effect. If you control a Link 1 monster or a level 2 synchro monster, it doesn't have to be specifically theirs. You can special summon all of them. We'll get to that part later as we go along. So now that you know what each Yummy does, at least the main deck ones, let's go after their synchros. Cupsy Yummy adds 2 Yummy monsters from your deck to your hand, then discards one. Lollipop can special summon 2 Yummies from your graveyard but negate their effects. And Cookie can Book of Moon 2 face-up monsters on the field. Also, all the synchro monsters share another effect. The effect that they share is if your opponent activates a card or effect, as a quick effect, you can return them to the extra deck and special summon 2 Yummies from your graveyard. Yes, even the Reborn one has this effect. So essentially, this can bring back up to 4 Yummies. So now let's go with the Link 1 monster. Yummy Snatchy is going to be the foothold of the deck because if you notice something, with all these synchros, they are all generic, but there is one problem. None of the Yummy monsters are tuners. That's where the Link 1 comes in. Before I read what the Link 1 does, I should say one more thing about the synchros. All the synchros share one special stipulation, and that is that you can use a Link 1 monster as a level 1 tuner. So this is going to be very pivotal for their play, but more than that, it's going to make this very, very splashable, and you'll see later how. Before that, let's read Yummy Snatchy. Snatchy reads, if this card is special summoned, you can place 1 Yummy field spell from your hand or deck face up on your field. Also, for the rest of this turn, you cannot link summon level Link 3 or higher Link monsters. You can only use this effect of Yummy Smashy once per turn. Once per turn, during the main phase or your opponent's battle phase, you can pay 100 life points immediately after this effect resolves. Synchro summon using a Yummy monster you control. So essentially what this card allows you to do is it tutors your field spells, which we will read them in a moment, but also it gives you the ability to quick synchro on your opponent's turn. So you can quick synchro into the Book of Moon guy, and this will become 2 interruptions. You can quick synchro into Yummy Way, which will reborn 2 Yummies. You can quick synchro into Topsy, which will add 2 Yummies. And remember, if your opponent interacts in any way, you can just reborn the other Yummies. And again, this is a monster pop. This is a banish in the graveyard. This is an add or a draw. Like, now you're starting to understand what Konami kind of wants you to do with these monsters. Basically, you're just going to keep interrupting your opponent with all these yummy monsters and just use them on both players' turn. But this can't be it, right? Like just a Book of Moon for 2 and a pop, that shouldn't be enough to sell an archetype. Well, let's read the field spells. The first one is Yummy Scent Akroki. So Yummy Scent Akroki reads, if a face-up monster you control leaves by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 1 Yummy monster from your deck. If you synchro summon a Light Beast synchro monster, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, destroy it. If this card's in your graveyard, you can target 2 Yummy monsters in your graveyard and or banishment, place them at the bottom of the deck in any order, and discard. You can only use each effect once per turn. Essentially, this card is a monster popper if you synchro summon. So now you have more interruptions with this card. Let's read the other field spell. This is Yummy Scent Minion. Yummy monsters you control gain 500 attack for each Light Beast monster on the field. You can only use each effect once per turn. If you control a Link 1 monster, you can target 1 level 1 Yummy monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If this card's in your graveyard, you can target 2 Yummy monsters in your graveyard and their banishment, place them on the bottom of this deck alongside this card. So basically, this is the in-engine pusher. If you notice, all these Yummy monsters don't have a lot of attack. The highest attack monster is Yummy Way, the Cookie Yummy Way, and this one has only 1600. So this field spell essentially is just going to give you more pushing power in order to just like control the game and go after your opponent. Now, we have 1 trap card, and this is the last card to talk about the archetype. Monsters your opponent control loses 200 attack for each Light Beast monster you control and in your graveyard. Okay. Once per chain, if you synchro summon a Light Beast synchro monster, you can draw 1 card, then place 1 card from your hand onto the bottom of your deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard, target 1 Yummy monster you control and 1 monster your opponent controls, switch control of both. You can only use Yummy Redemption once per turn this way. Really cool card. It is a trap card, so it is kind of slow. The effect of the trap card is not bad. Take note, the drawing effect is once per chain, and this is gonna be very helpful because we do have Yummy Snatchy that can synchro summon on your opponent's turn. Adding to that, if you synchro summon on your turn, you can just keep drawing cards and keep shuffling cards around. Okay, now that we read everything, let's talk about this archetype a little bit more. I'm going to say this right now. By the time this video ends, I won't be able to cover everything when it comes to this deck. This deck does a lot. And not only that, I highly believe this deck is already tier 1. Not tier 0, but it is going to be tier 1. And I'll explain in a moment why. But for starters, take note of all the Yummy effects to reborn or special summon 2 Yummies. They don't specify level 1 Yummies. So you can special summon other synchro Yummies with Lollipop effect or with all of their effects if your opponent tries to interact with you. Also, take note, all of these synchro effects can dodge your opponent's hand traps if they are targeting hand traps. If your opponent tries to effect Veiler you, Imperm you, Ghost Warner you, like do any of those things, you can just chain their effects and just swap out into the other Yummies. So this is already really good. Like every format that we have just a high amount of hand traps, it's going to be a format that is going to be strong for a deck like Yummy. Also, like, after you just synchro away for one Yummy, you can just link away the Yummy into a Snatchy, and then use the Snatchy to synchro into another Yummy. To my understanding, it does not say that you can special summon Snatchy once per turn. It only restricts the effects to once per turn. So that's already another cool interaction that you have for Yummies. Now that we talked about how Yummies interact and the gameplay and the playstyle of Yummies, what is the other incredible thing about this archetype? Since all these Synchro monsters require a Link 1 monster, that means any Link 1 monster can make these. We're talking about stuff like Almirage. We're talking about Fiendsmith Requiem. We're talking about other stuff like that. Also, take note, with Salamangreat Almirage in the game, this means one thing. I was going to make a video for my Malice players who are watching my videos. I was going to make a Welcome to Underground episode very later on, talking about how Salamangreat Almirage is great for Malice. However, I'll hold that for another time. But essentially, the explanation I was going to give for that video is going to be the same explanation I'll give for this video. Salamangreat Almirage is going to be a problem, and I'll show you why. You see all these cards? You see all these hand traps? All of these cards can make Almirage. And all the Yummy monsters say that if you control a Link 1 monster, you can special summon them. What does this mean? It means hand traps are now play starters for Yummy. And this is going to be a problem. Essentially what this means is this is going to be a heavy hand trap deck. And the hand traps are not real bricks. Any hand trap plus one Yummy equals Yummy Way. And Yummy Way can add you Cupsy. And you can link away Yummy Way into Snatchy. And then with Snatchy and Cupsy, you can just make another Yummy. And you can just keep going. See where I'm going with this? Yes. Like, this is gonna be a problem. Also, the splashability doesn't end there. All these Yummies are level 2s. What does that mean? That means Sprites can be played in this deck. Remember these cards? Yeah, these cards can be paired with Yummy as well. You can even turn the Yummies into Gigantic Sprite. And Gigantic Sprite, just summon your Sprite monsters and just keep going. Another thing about the Yummies that I have to bring up, there are no restrictions to their summons. What does that mean? That means you can make Moon of the Closed Heaven. And Moon of the Closed Heaven can turn into Requiem. And Fiendsmith Requiem can summon Engraver from the deck. Or Lacrima. So you can also play this deck with Fiendsmith without any issues. But it doesn't end there. You see how Yummy Snatchy requires a level 4 or lower light beast monster? Yes, Ojamas can be used for Yummies. Rescue Cat can be used for Yummies. Rescue Cat can just tutor 2 Yummies from the deck. That's what I mean by that. Fables can be used for Yummies. Bourgeons can be used for Yummies. Do you remember these cards? Like these weird monsters that were B-Jump promos? The Forest Ninja, the Noble Knight of White Forest, this B-Jump promo that we still don't have yet and I'm not gonna pronounce its name. All of these can be used for Yummies too. One for One is a tutor card for Yummies. Obedience School is another card that Yummies can play because they're all lower level beast monsters. Snake Eyes can also be paired with Yummies because Snake Eyes can make Almirage or Anima, and they're Link 1 monsters, so you can just... Yeah, there is a world where you can play Snake Eyes with Yummies and just have a really cool Snake Eye deck. All the Yummies are beasts, so you can pair them with Tri Brigades as well. Like, again, I could stay all night talking about Yummies and just say how ridiculously splashable this archetype is. But for now, I'll leave it here. I hope you found this informative and to your liking and understanding. I really see this archetype being tier 1. There's no way this archetype is not gonna be seeing any play. With the level of splashability it has, the way to dodge hand traps, the ability to just mass reborn monsters, you can turn your monsters into very offensive card advantage, and the consistency is there too. Like, it's super easy to get to your to your engine. This thing is Ryziel Duo Drive, but can dodge half the hand traps that can be used against it. That's really strong. Yeah, but that's it from me. Keep practicing and keep dueling.